Good morning, everyone, and welcome back. And if you're new here, my name is Kim, and today I'm just out in the garden getting some of the beds ready for planting. It's still kind of early here, and I've got Peanut, my Chihuahua, with me. She's always out here while I'm planting. But I've got some compost in these beds and getting them ready to plant. I do have some lilies and iris coming up in my flower beds here. There's a peony over there that's coming up. It's still pretty early here. We had snow a couple days ago, so getting some of the cold weather crops ready to plant. And just out here getting all the beds ready to plant. And that's my little greenhouse out here. I got the plants that were inside that I had started from seed. A bunch of the green bell peppers and the Anaheim peppers. There's some jalapenos in there. Serrano peppers. There's my tomatoes. I've still got about 3 weeks till I can plant them in the ground, so I'm going to put them in some bigger pots just to get them through for the next 3 weeks. There's some more tomatoes, beef steaks, and mortgage lifters. And there's some more peppers. This is a Scotch bonnet. And more jalapenos. Gotta make the cowboy candy this summer. And those are Mad Hatter peppers. Probably gonna have to repot those too. I don't know. We'll see. I've got about 3 weeks until I can plant these outside. And down here, the zinnias I started from seed. They are blooming. Very pretty. There's another bud right there that's getting ready to bloom. And these are the marigolds. They're very pretty also. This is just a mixed variety of marigolds and zinnias. And my nasturtiums are falling over. I'm definitely going to have to get those in a deeper pot. They're just taking over. But this is my little greenhouse. It works pretty well. It's just a cheapy greenhouse. As soon as we're done with it this summer, we're going to go ahead and take this one down. And my husband is going to build me a larger greenhouse. That's a little better, because these only seem to last about 2 years before they dry rot and start to get holes in them and fall apart. There's my heater there that I turn on at night, because it's still been in the low 30s at night, sometimes in the 20s. And I just keep it on low at night and leave it open during the day. Today's a beautiful day. It's about 65 degrees out, so I just have it wide open today. But I'm getting everything ready for planting. Get some new soil in these beds. This is some spinach that came up that was planted here from last year. It's got some white tips on it because the snow got it the other day, but it came up from last year, so apparently I missed a couple plants that I pulled. And there's my chives. See, I cut some off the other day. We had some baked potatoes with sour cream and chives, and oh, they were good. These ones back here are garlic chives. They are really good on baked potatoes, especially with some sour cream. And here is the kale I just got planted. plant that for the chickens. They love their kale. The Chihuahua also loves her kale. You want a piece of kale, Peanut? Huh? You want a piece? I'm gonna give you a piece. There you go. And she just loves her kale. Her favorite treat last summer was carrots. She discovered she really liked carrots. And I've got some bok choy out here that I had planted with the kale. I'm getting ready to put those in. Are you begging for more? Huh? You want more? The plants are still tiny. There you go. And she'll sit here and eat kale all day long. It's good for you, huh? Good stuff. But I got some bok choy that I'm getting ready to plant. I planted a couple rows of some more of this blue Scotch curled kale. I'll put 2 more rows in here. That should be enough to get us by. I planted it really thick because I'll harvest it once it gets bigger. I'll probably harvest every other day to throw it to the chickens. And the Chihuahua. She loves her kale. No, you can't have my bok choy. You're looking at it, huh? No, you can't have that one. That one's for me. But I was just out here this morning getting garden beds ready. Not a lot growing yet. Over here, I did notice in my smoker, I put a rhubarb plant in a pot last year, and it didn't do real good in the pot last year. But I noticed it's doing pretty good this year, so I don't know whether I should plant it in the ground or leave it in the pot. I think it might be too big. And the pot's probably about 24 inches tall. Probably 18 inches wide. And I've always grown it in the ground on the other side of my house, and then it died, so I bought another rhubarb last year and put it in there. And so I might have to repot it in the ground. There's some lilacs coming back. They're looking good this year. But just wanted to give you a garden update. What I've been out here doing. Just getting beds ready. Be planting soon. I've got some cabbage inside I'm going to get planting, and I got to get my onions and carrot seeds in. And I've got pots over here that I'm going to be putting some cabbage in, and the blueberry. And here's some video of when I had planted some seeds. These are seedlings I had planted from seed. This is some blue Scotch curled kale, and behind it is bok choy. And this is when I was getting ready to plant. And of course, the Chihuahua has to have her share. Peanut just loves her vegetables. She loves cabbage and kale, and carrots are her favorite. She loves to eat her vegetables. She loves lettuce. Every time I'm in the kitchen chopping vegetables up, she's waiting for it. So she's got to get her little bite in. But here, the 6 packs I had planted, I'm just pulling them out. And you can see that they're really root bound. I probably should have got them planted about a week ago, but we had some cold weather and some snow come in. So I didn't get them planted. So I think they'll be all right. And it's not too hot yet. We're still in the 50s and 60s during the day. Last week we did get up to 70, but then it snowed. But we're still dropping into the 20s and the 30s at night. So here I'm just digging the hole. And I plant mine about 4 or 5 inches apart. We're in Colorado, and we have really, really hot, dry summers.
We don't have any humidity at all. Usually we're at 0% humidity with 100 degrees. So the plants get really, really hot and they don't hold moisture real well. So I plant all of my plants, even my peppers and tomatoes, I plant them all close to each other just so they can kind of shade each other, and they shade out the ground too, which keeps the moisture in the ground and just helps the soil from drying out, keeps the plants moist, keeps them healthy. So here I'm just doing a second row of kale, and I'm just planting them to the top of the root ball of the kale. You don't want to go real deep with them. Now I only planted 24 plants of kale in the house because I had so many other starts going. I had lots of peppers and tomatoes and all kinds of other stuff. I've got lettuce and herbs. Just recently started my cucumbers and watermelons, and they just broke the ground, about 3 days ago, and they're already about 3 inches tall. So I just didn't have room, so I did plant 24 of these kale, which will give us a nice harvest. My husband and I, we throw some kale and some stir fry occasionally, but we're not huge kale lovers. I mainly just plant it because my chickens absolutely love kale, and they love their green vegetables in the summertime when it's all hot outside. And they do tend to produce more eggs if I give them some kale and some cabbage, and I get a lot more eggs out of them. I just seem to have healthier, happier chickens. And, of course, you gotta have kale for the Chihuahua. She comes out in the summertime and picks her own. I'll see if I can get some videos of that come summertime. But here I'm almost done. I'm just gonna get a couple more plants here in these rows. I'm gonna have 3 rows total of the kale seedlings. And if you've never grown kale before, it's really easy. You can just buy a pack of seeds if you don't have any of the plants. You can plant it. It doesn't need a whole lot of water. It's not real picky. You can plant it in the sun. You can plant it in the shade. This bed right here gets a lot of morning sun, and then probably about 3 o'clock in the afternoon it's all shaded from then on, and they seem to grow really big, nice bushy plants that way. So, but kale's not real picky. I've grown it in full sun too, so you can grow it in sun or shade. And a lot of people like to put it in smoothies, and you can put it in all kinds of food. I put it in some soups, and we love it in stir fry. It's really good that way. This year I think I'm going to try and do some kale that's just fried up in a frying pan with some garlic butter. My mother-in-law tried some last year that way, and she said it was really good. So here I'm just making some trenches. I'm going to do 2 rows, and I'm going to go ahead and put some more kale seeds in, just so we have a couple more rows. I usually try to do about a half a bed of kale, and that gives the chickens plenty of greens throughout the summer, and then I freeze some. And plus I'll grow cabbage and lettuce, and they'll get all the leaves off of those too. But here I'm not going to plant these real deep. The seeds themselves, I usually just dig a long trench, and the seeds themselves only need to go about 1/4 of an inch in the ground. You don't want to bury them too deep. They won't come up. They won't germinate if you do. So you just want to dig some trenches. If you don't want to dig trenches, you can just dig holes if you want. Just put a little bit in each hole, a couple seeds in each hole. But I find the easiest way is I just take my packet of seeds. But I just take my packet of seeds, and then I sprinkle a light layer of row of kale. These are 2 pretty long rows. They're about 3 feet each. So I'm going to use 1 full pack, and I'm going to do half in one row and then half in the other. Kale you don't really have to thin out. If it's planted really thick, it'll still grow. It doesn't really care. As long as you keep picking it. As long as you keep picking it, it'll keep growing. If you don't pick it, then it's going to be too bushy. Then plant a little bit lighter. But I usually just take half a packet and put one half in one row, and then the second row I'll do the other half. And it's planted really thick, but that's alright, because you'll get lots of kale from it. And I usually come out during the summer and I'll pick some about every other day and give it to the chickens. And the puppy dog loves her kale too. So I shouldn't call her a puppy now. She's almost 14. She's getting pretty old on us. But she loves her kale, and I figure it's healthy for humans. It's got to be good for the dogs. But then all you want to do is you just want to cover it with a thin layer of soil. Don't cover it real deep. I'm just pushing a little bit of soil over the top, about 1/4 of an inch over the top of them. And I don't pack it down or anything. I just lightly push it over. And kale is just really easy. It's kind of like lettuce and cabbage.
So here I got 3 rows of the kale planted. There's 24 plants. I planted them pretty thick because I just plant them for the chickens and the chihuahua, of course. And then here by the trellis, I put some peas in. They haven't come up yet.
And now I'm just going to give it a lot of water. The soil was pretty dry. We had some snow, but it wasn't real wet and it didn't dampen the soil. So I'm going to wet it real well. And I've got some pea seeds in here. I planted 4 or 5 days ago that I'm going to make sure they get nice and wet. And I've got some over on the other side of the trellis. But I just want to thank everybody today for joining me with walking around my garden. If you have liked my videos, you can subscribe and join along. And I'll be doing some more videos and planting videos and some garden tours and some hatching chickens that are getting ready to hatch anytime now. So thank you guys for joining me and have a good day.